share this. So this is a introduction to organizational behavior. So how the people behave at the organization, at the workplace, that is important. It is not that how organizations behave. It is that the subject which is related to the how people behave and how the emotions and personalities and everything, what all the human characteristics and human behavior and everything related will be discussed in this unit. So what is in this organization and behavior, both are two different interconnected aspects. So organization and behavior, both. So organization behavior, always we should not get into a wrong conclusion that it is about just organization. No, people in the organization. It is about people in the organization, how they behave, how they respond, how they take the decisions, and various things will be there. So first of all, we need to understand organizations. What is organization? Can you speak something about it? What is organization you understood? In general.
Organization is a group of people.
Okay. For a purpose, right?
Yes.
Okay. Sonia, would you like to share anything?
No, the same, a group of people that share a common purpose.
Okay. Okay. So organization is a setup of a mechanism set up with people and for the purpose. Okay. The organization is defined by different people in different formats. The term organization has different meanings. So when we take Australian Pocket Oxford Dictionary, you can find a verb form and also a noun form of the definition for that. Verb form of the word organize is defined as the given an orderly structure to or make an arrangement for a person or oneself. This is a verbal form. And comes to the noun form, the state of being organized or an organized body such as a business or charity. So this is the general philosophy of an organization and a definition of the organization. Various writers on management concepts and organizational behavior or organization or basic management, they have given their own definitions. So Gareth Morgan, in his book Image of Organizations, provides the origins of organization. So this organization derived from a Greek word called organon, which means a tool or instrument. So it is basically evident that organization is not functioning in isolation. It is a tool to make things possible together with the various resources as well as human resource. He continues by saying that it is no wonder that ideas about tasks, goals, aims, and objectives have become such important organizational concepts for both tools and instruments or mechanical devices invented and developed to aid in performing some kind of goal-oriented activity. So in our reading material, sorry, not in the reading material, that book, Gareth's book, Page 15 is explaining this information. Of course, we may not have any access to that book now. So this meaning provides an example of the mechanistic view of organizations that is commonly used today. So earlier, that means in the early stages of the business and evolution of the business, it was not bothered about human resources as a resource to be respected. Oh, where is this topic gone? Only we together, huh? We two have connected. Sonia, no.
Yep, I'm here.
Okay. Anyway, so in the early days of business, there was no value attached to the human resources. It was like slavery and no unlimited working hours and no empathy to the people, and these all came into picture. No feelings are respected, etc., etc. But of course, for the bread and butter, people were working and by force or at the point of at the gunpoint, etc. But the things are changing, and the organization is revolutionized and dynamic and making various what we call transformations now. That is the reason why the organization is a set of tools and mechanisms where the various dispersed resources will be put together to make something achieve. So another author, Mr. Cole, says organization to describe the process of organizing. This is what organizing. Because once people started facing the scarcity of the resources by the huge amount of demand for the resources which are limitedly available, the people are thinking of how best we can use those resources, how best to improve the productivity of the resources, then bringing those economic resources, using them and making certain objectives to be achieved. This has become priority. That is what organizing the things in a disciplined fashion, and it's used to describe the social entity formed by a group of people. So without people, there is no organization. Just materials and machine will not be used or will not be directly making or any output or achieving any objective. The humans must be there. So the process of organizing is means or purposeful activity by which you arrive at your chosen destination. This is what objective. Destination means you are reaching a particular point of location or a point of objective. That organizing is a function of management. This is very important because we have functions, right? Planning, organizing, right? Various functions we have, directing, controlling. So this organizing is one of the most primary functions of the management. And it involves a process to determine group and structure activities. In the organization, we have organization structure, right? We have different organization structures, right? Suppose vertical and horizontal structures, etc., etc. So who is reporting whom? That is what power, authority, and what authority and responsibility. What we call disclosure or relationship between power and authority, or authority and responsibility, etc. So who is reporting to whom? So that is what determine group and structure activities, so that you can see if you have a particular set of activities here, if you know properly, you can assign this to X, Y, Z, whatever it, one or two people. Devise and allocate roles and resources. Who is a manager? Who is a subordinate? Who is a foreman? Who is a worker? You just have to devise and allocate roles and resources. Assign accountability of results to both groups and individuals. So accountability. So this is the problem. Responsibility without accountability will be a disaster. What we call power without accountability is a disaster. Responsibility without accountability what we call a sorrow. That is what normally people say. So assign accountability. Who is accountable for what? Determine detailed governance rules and systems. You must make a system to be functioning in a proper fashion by rules and regulations. So you must create a rule book, including those of communication, decision making, and conflict resolution. Everything you must meticulously give the rules and regulations how to make the objectives successfully achieving it. So these are different definitions. I am not going one by one, every one, right? Please go through the material given in the reading, what we call reading material for this unit, study material. The recent work of Stephen Robbins, he is a human resource expert and expert with expertise in organizational behavior. He was a consultant for various companies. Organization theory. His book is famous in the management schools. Organization theory, concept and cases provide a broad meaning of organization that further combines the future of people and people, structure and goals, these three. He says organization is a consciously coordinated social entity. This is very important, consciously coordinated, because there is no such a kind of, just adding things and making a organization. They are consciously think before coordinating the society, social entity with a relatively identifiable boundary. This is very important. Relatively identify the boundaries where you are, what is your perimeter and what is your, what we call premises that functions on a continuous basis to achieve common goal or set of goals. This is the definition given by him. The underlined words or phrases in the above definition by this author emphasize important features of organizations like. So he has given detailed meticulous explanation about various words used here. So here, consciously coordinated, which means the use of the phrase consciously coordinated implies the process of management or being managed. This is very important. To manage sometimes may mean to organize, regulate, or to be in charge. So that is the reason why consciously coordinated in the sense knowingly, what we can willfully and knowingly the repercussions and results, everything. And it is a social entity. A social entity or unity is composed of people or groups of people who interact with each other for various reasons and purposes. Not only for official purposes, but also for personal reasons within the organization. Sometimes they interact. Because in the organization, can we speak something personal with any of our colleagues in day in and day out?
No.
But
No.
out of the office hours, we may have some close association with some colleagues,
Yeah.
maybe having some social gathering like, yes or no?
Yes, you can.
So that's the reason why members, social entity in the sense, it is depending on social behavior of the people. At the same time, it is part of the society, and they will have various purposes to meet. Sometimes we may be gathering for a celebration by some other colleague, and we may share some of our views. So this is what you cannot distinguish, we cannot separate these things, and we cannot restrict the people not to speak about any personal things in this case. Different individuals and groups in an organization think and behave differently because, every person is a unique person and their behavior also unique. The things which are positive, looking positive for me may not be positive for somebody else. So that all depends on how I am perceiving all those things. So because of these differences, interaction patterns of people need to be managed or consciously coordinated in order that there exists more balanced and harmonious relationships amongst the members. We can take simple example. In the lunchtime, or the duration of the lunch period, lunch time in the offices, you can see some different groups will emerge. Those who habituated to smoke, they will gather somewhere just with smokes. The people who are using that mustard and kambak maybe grouped somewhere, and even though we have no chewing in the office, they may go out of the office and they will just feel their urge complete, and they will come back. And this kind of, that all certain common point will bring them together, and even rugby lovers will become a simple group and discuss about rugby leagues. A cricket lovers in the office may talk about cricket and gather, because this common point is a cricket, our common point is buoy, our common point is smoke. These all the things normally which cannot be avoided, but how balanced we manage these groups in the organization is a tough task for the human resources departments. Relatively identifiable boundary. That means you must, every organization has an identifiable boundary that differentiates who is and who is not part of that organization. That is what you can easily identify who is our employee, who is not our employee. And boundary may not remain the same and can change over time because of changes, organizational needs and situations. So boundaries may be altered based on the situation. For example, work is exchanged for pay, usually in the form of money. Members are employed on contract to ensure mutual employment relationships. So these are sometimes, you take, for example, different systems will coexist in the same system. Like, for example, public servants may be having a job guarantee, and private services and companies in the private companies, there may not be such assured job for a certain period. I am talking about Indian context. In Indian context, if earlier, even today also, if anybody who gets a provincial government job or a federal government job, till the retirement, there is no job, insecurity will not be there for the job. Fully secured job. Whether he works, he or she works or not works, the what we call performance related incentives or something may not be there, but regularly they will be getting a salary till they get retirement. So when you speak about this, at the same time, private sector also existing in the same society. In the private sector, performance-based incentives and performance-related, when the people underperform, they will be throwing them out. These all, matters. When you speak about the boundaries, that depends on the organization and the type of organization, and also functions on a continuous basis. The organization continues. As we have seen. Accounting parlance, going concern concept. Every company established may be expected to be running beyond generations. So social organizations function on a continuous basis, usually based upon their own defined needs and situations. For example, most schools in PNG would be open from Monday to Friday between the hours of 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. These times are commonly used across the PNG school system as they are most convenient when both staff and students are available in school. So teaching and learning can occur. From another point of view, hospitals in town and cities may remain 24 hours open, because we cannot say the hospital is just functioning from morning 8 to evening 4, because a patient may get any need any time in the day. So this continuous basis, a goal or set of goals, always an organization will have certain goals. Organizations exist in order to achieve a goal or set of goals. If there is no goal, there is no meaning for the organization. Goals usually are either attained by an individual working alone, or if not attained individually, are achieved through group effort in the organization. That depends on the style of the organization and the functioning of the organization. Then what are the characteristics of the organizations? Organizations have been viewed and studied in many different ways, as discussed in the previous sections. Two of the most common ways are a process of organizing some activity, or a social entity or unit. As a social unit, many writers agree that social organizations commonly comprised of people, structure, and goals. This subunit focuses on some of the different ways or characteristics of organization. Now we look at whatever the information or explanation given by Robinson Barnwell, key features of organizations. Rational entities in pursuit of goals. Organizations are made up of human beings who can think and act with reasons. That is what rationality. Rational thinking in the sense that there must be some reason. If something happened, there must be some kind of influence or some kind of reason for that. They exist to achieve goals, and therefore members of an organization think and behave in such a way to achieve those set goals. For example, think about your own organization. What type of people make up your organization? What are the goals or aims which your organization has set to be achieved? Can anyone respond for these questions? Is the screen visible clearly?
Yes.
Okay. What type of your organization? What type of people make up your organization? Okay, can we have these questions later?
Yeah.
Okay. Coalitions of powerful constituencies. Coalitions in the sense, it is a part. Coalitions in the sense joining hands by different people with different interests. Organizations are made up of different groups or constituencies who have different needs and interests. This is very important one. Each group, therefore, seeks and uses its powers of influence to satisfy its own self-interest. This, for example, occurs especially in the distribution of resources within the organization. You take, for example, with due respect to every department in the organization, I don't know in which department you are placed in. With due respect, of course, I am not here to blame any department in the organization. Normally, when do you think your HR people become arrogant sometimes? Sonia, if you are in HR department, please excuse me. Sonia.
No, I'm not in the HR department, so.
You are in the HR department?
No, I'm not.
So sometimes HR department appears to the employees in the organization why these people are differently behaving or indifferent or something like that. Did you find any such instances in any organization, not only your organization?
Yeah. Sometimes they become very arrogant.
Because, we understand our requirement and we look at a solution for our requirement, but they will speak about a rule book and all. And especially in our PNG, rule book changes by person to person. Huh?
Yeah.
If I am the HR manager, if my brother comes for the same purpose, I say okay. If somebody comes and I say no. So these all, because I don't think the people are wrong. Normally, we should not think that people are wrong. The situations drive them. If I say no to my brother, there may be a conflict at home with the entire family. If I say no to you, for example, you may not be disturbing me in the family or something. This is what compelling needs of the people, normally self-interest. So, to make this balance, that is very tough task for the organizations. So each of these groups perform different roles, and also within the organization, you can see some departments or some sections in the organization, they need more resources because of their importance in the organization. Some companies, suppose Johnson & Johnson, they spend more on research and development than manufacturing or human resources, etc. Simple things, because if they spend more on research, they can register more patents. If they register more patents, they can make more money in the future. So the allocation depends on the importance of the what we call that particular section. Then open systems. Open systems in the sense, it is not like China, Russia, and North Korea. They are closed systems. What we can say in the political arena. Because closed system in the political point, not other things. Because nothing is known to anybody. What is happening in China, nobody knows except the Chinese Communist Party people. And North Korea, even nobody knows except the king or whatever the person ruling. So this is what they don't allow. They close with the iron shield, where they don't allow anything to come in and anything go out from their country. But here, organizations also, not if they are closed systems, they cannot survive. Open system in the sense that they're social entities which comprise of individuals and groups of people who interact with another in order to achieve its goals. Then open systems operate in a form of a cycle. They are characterized receiving inputs from its environment, because they cannot say no for the environment. That means business environment, the surroundings, the things surrounded. Many things are surrounded, because suppliers may be there and customers will be there, government will be there. They cannot say that we close everything and we don't want anything from you. No. So they need to accept various inputs from the society, and also they need to send various things to the society in the form of goods and services. These are that transformed or converted into outputs. They receive the inputs in the form of material men, material machine, and capital, and so many resources, and they convert them into output in the form of goods and services, which are then released back to the environment, that is society. So these all are interlinked. You must accept the resources from the society and have to give the output to the society. That is what you are taking some raw material. You are taking rice and you are converting that into cookies and biscuits and selling. That is like some example. So adding value to the resources which you are consuming or taking from the society, and again sending back a value-added product. The success or failure performance results are then fed back into the system. So success or failure will be reflecting on the society. Why? In the sense a failed company will remove the employees, and the employees will be losing the jobs, and the families will be economically suffocated. We can therefore conclude that open systems depend on their environment for their continued survival. If they want to survive, environment must support them. Business environment. Meaning, producing system. Organizations can also be seen as artificial entities. That is what artificial entities in the sense artificial persons. They symbolize certain unique purpose and goals which are maintained by those who manage the organization. And loosely coupled system. These are words taken from the previous definition. Organizations are made up of relatively independent units or subunits that can pursue dissimilar or even conflicting goals. For example, look at the organization that your work as a whole, and within this identity, identify all of the different subunits or subsystems. And every subsystem, so you take simple example. In any office, you can find some people, front office you can find. You can find the finance department, human resource department, marketing department, right? You may find some production department, procurement department. All will be functioning in line with the objectives of the organization, but every section is independent for their activities. The front office will not do any marketing calls. Marketing people do not go to the front office to talk to the visitors. This is what you can say loosely coupled system, in the sense every subsystem is independent, but all subsystems are connected to a particular system where ultimate objective is to be achieved. Political system, politics about the power. Always we all know. It in particular involves the process of decision making in an organization. Decisions are usually about questions on who gets what, why, how. These are the questions normally we ask in the. That means organizations are composed of formal internal power structures which enables decision making processes to take place in different levels. You take simple example, any bank branch or any bank. You can find different sections in the bank, and each section is headed by a particular person who is authorized to take the decisions for that section. So always we know in organizations also, people are always happy to take decisions, right? But they don't accountable. They don't want to accountable for those decisions in certain cases. That is a different story. So decision making means I am just, I, the word I comes here. I am the boss. So this makes sometimes controversy between that person who is feeling I and the people working under that Mr. I. There will be some kind of, rift between them. So if the people are thinking about power, political system as a power to be used for their achievements or something like, the organization may be collapsing, and so organizations must think of how best we can control these kind of decision making authorities of the people. Instruments of instruments of domination. Organizations place members in job boxes that constrain what they can do and with whom they can interact. So they restrict, sometimes certain sections in the organization, suppose Mr. A here and Mr. B here. So only limited access may be given for the communication, because if each section is a independent section. So employer or employee relationships in which the employer determines the rules and the regulations that we must obey. That is what we cannot say, I don't obey your orders to our boss man or boss Mary. Information processing units, organizations as social entities comprise of groups of people who interact and make decisions about their organization and its environment. They also coordinate their activities and as well process and facilitate how relevant decisions and information about its activities can be passed on throughout the organization. So always information, in current situation, information is the driving force of the economies. So information and processing and information, transformation and information sharing always is part of the organization. Organizations sometimes can be considered as physic persons in that they control the minds of or mental thoughts of their workers. This is done by constructing job descriptions. This is what in the human resource management you can find. Job descriptions, departments, divisions, and standards. Why in the sense, suppose when Mr. X is recruited by a company, will they say that you can sit anywhere and work anywhere, whatever you want? Mr. Colin? Mr. Colin? Unmute.
Hello.
Can anyone get recruited in any office? Will they say that new recruiter, like, okay, gentlemen, you can sit anywhere in the office and you can do anything in the office. Can you find any such offers for any company?
No.
They will show a particular,
No, I don't think so.
and they will give the job description, and they will restrict that person to do certain things, right? No matter how greatly skilled that person is, all those skills he may be maintaining all the company individually or single-handedly, but they don't hand over everything to that single person. So when these control mechanisms are accepted by members, they become barriers that limit workers' choice of interests and behaviors. So they may not be happy, but they will have to obey the rules of the company. And social contracts, organizations are composed of set of unwritten agreements or informal structures whereby members perform certain behaviors in return of compensation. The example given here is, there are formally determined contract agreements that each one of us have signed up with our employer to be paid as teachers at different levels. This is normally based upon the formula equal pay for equal amount of work. However, on top of these, some people are further compensated either as reward for doing additional jobs or in recognition of exceptional performance, which are outside their formal contracts. See, for example, the school teacher, all school teachers may be getting the salary or pay based on their contract agreement and their experience, etc. But sometimes some teachers may be taking personally the care of certain underperforming students and downtrodden people and the economically unsupportive people. They may be helping separately for them. So for that, you may have to recognize the service of the teachers. And what are the types of organizations? There exist many different types of organizations. Each organization is specifically defined by its own unique situations, purpose, climate, culture, and strategies. And also, not only situation, purpose, climate, culture, strategies, but also geographical location. Geographical locations also will influence the what we call a type of organization. Within the PNG culture, social, political, and economic contexts, different types of organizations can be found at individual, family, clan, or tribe. Right? This we have seen, right? Clan as an organization and tribe as an organization. Village, community, local level governments, district, province, and national or societal levels, and representations from different international organizations. These are all part of our PNG organizations, types of organizations. There are some hybrid organizations, that is mixture of different types of organizations that operate in both the public sector and private sector simultaneously, fulfilling public duties and developing commercial market activities like Air Niugini you can take, such as Department of Foreign Affairs, Commerce, Trade and Industry. Some are social service organizations such as schools, hospitals, community and youth centers that provide education, health and training to the entire population. And many are voluntary associations that consist of volunteers, such as organizations may be able to operate without legal formalities, depending on jurisdiction, including formal clubs. Organizations may also operate in secret and or illegally in the case of secret societies, criminal organizations, and resistance movements. These all are different types of organizations we can see and come across. So this is about one lesson, right? We'll go with okay. Now, the previous slide, we had the discussion on what is organization, right? Now we go to the topic of introducing organizational behavior. What is organizational behavior? It may be for 8-9 slides. We try to cover this now. What is organizational behavior? So organizational behavior is field of study about human behavior. That is very important. We must remember. Organization behavior is not physical organization behavior. Behavior of the people within the organization. It's about what people feel think, and do in and around the organization. In simple words, this is the definition of organizational behavior. Organizational behavior is about what people feel, think, and do in and around the organization. It looks at employees' behaviors, perceptions, and emotional responses. Behaviors, their perception, and their emotional responses. It examines how individuals and groups relate to each other and to their counterparts in other organizations. Sometimes, you can see very simply in the villages, you must have observed the street dogs. If suppose one dog have seen some stranger coming, and that dog will start shouting. Once the other dogs on the street hear that shouting or barking of one dog, these all also will be barking, irrespective of whether they saw that stranger or not. They just blindly believe the first dog which barked, right? So, I am not comparing humans with dogs, but the thing is how one particular species, one particular dog is hinting, and others are somewhere in the street where they are not near to them, near to the first dog, still they will be understanding in the way. So in the similar senses, sorry, don't take my example as an offensive thing, just to explain the mentality, not the comparing the people with the dogs. Sorry if at all you take it as a negative thing. And the second point is in the human resources, in the organizations, if something happens in some organization suppose something happens in a school, negative to the teachers, for example, all other teachers also feel the pain of the same. So they react for that. In the same sense, of course, we can see how they relate with our counterparts in other organizations. This is from MC Shane and the other what we call book. The organizational behavior is a multidisciplinary field, because organizational behavior is totally depending on they totally talks about the behavior of the people in the organizations, and this behavioral science is depending on this multidisciplinary, because you may find various disciplines. What all those linked disciplines we can discuss now. This multidisciplines, it draws from the wide variety of perspectives and insights, including psychology. That means psychographic behavior of the people, psychological behavior of the people, sociological behavior of the people, and politics and economics. These four different disciplines will give the shape for the human behavior or organizational behavior. As a multidisciplinary field, organizational behavior draws upon elements from a wide range of social science disciplines such as sociology. Sociology, what is sociology? Sociology examines human behavior in relation to various social, political, psychological, and economic conditions that affect, produce, or reproduce consequential behavioral patterns. You take, for example, you may find some, if you are living in Mosby, you can find, if you could drive towards town, you can find various hotels are full with the people, and in front of the hotel, like Crown Plaza or some, various hotels, you can find many vehicles parked in front of the hotel, and some supporters of some group of political interest are staying there. See, the sociological behavior, suppose I am in the group of people supporting Mr. X. I don't want to take any names here. If I wanted to, if I am in the group of people who are supporting Mr. X for political reasons, and I will be supporting him, and I may be backing him because of political interests of that person as well as my group, etc. So what are the social aspects of the people? How you behave in the society, and how you treat the society, and how you perceive the street society. And psychological aspects and economic conditions of the, economic conditions, these political changes always depends on economic conditions of the society. So sociology influences the behavior of the people in the organization. Psychology, it concentrates on how individuals think and behave. Psychology, this is also a discipline, separate discipline now. And politics focuses on competitive struggles for political power, authority, influence, and decision making. Why somebody wanted to become prime minister? Because just they wanted to control the country and make use of the resources for themselves. Of course, make use of the resources for the country, whatever it is. Some prime ministers may be transparent, some may be selfish. That is a different story. And economics examines how wealth is produced and distributed. So each discipline generates a distinctive way or worldview of organizations and interprets behavior in them. So, for example, economics. Economics speaks always what is the relation between various resources and how wealth can be produced and how people can be influenced with economic incentives. This all comes in this organizational behavior too. Why should we study organizational behavior? Because it helps employees to make sense of the workplace. Because how should we behave at workplace? It is very simple. One simple example. Can we sit unacceptably in the office chair like at home? Can any employee at workplace, can they occupy the chair disgracefully and disrespectfully for the people who are sitting in front of them? Take simple, suppose this is a table which is shared by two persons, for example. Another colleague is sitting beside, what we call, in front of me. Can I just keep legs on the table and just relaxedly I can sit like that? Is it possible? Is it acceptable? Please respond.
No, it's not acceptable for that type of behavior in the workplace.
That is what organization behavior need to be understood, or we need to study how should we transform ourselves to be acceptable and part of the organization. And it gives employees the opportunity to question and rebuild their personal mental models that have developed through observation and experience. They can have a choice to speak to the superiors in the organization to what we call to make, suppose gender violence, we say. So the people may question if something is happening in the gender violence in the office. If suppose there are certain violent activities against women, then definitely we have right to question why the bossman or boss mary is tolerating that. If somebody is attacking on a girl or a lady in the office, if some male is attacking, and why the supervisor of that office is tolerating it. These kind of questions we can make to improvise the behavior of the people in the organization. And also organization behavior helps to fulfill employees' need to understand and predict the world in which they live, where they live. Everyone in the organization needs to work with other people. This we cannot say no, right? Can we avoid working with other people in the offices? No. We are in an office, in the system of office where you can meet with different people from different clans, different races and different countries. You cannot avoid the meeting with those, encountering or meeting with the people or working with the people. So when you cannot avoid working with different multiracial groups, you must understand how best you fit yourself into the multiracial group to be smoothly working in the organization. This understands this transformation will be possible by studying the organizational behavior. And OB provides the knowledge and tools for working with and through others. So how best you can mingle with the groups and how can you make the things possible within the groups. building a high performance team in the organizational behavior, you can have a, it helps in understanding how to build a high performance team and motivating co-workers, handling workplace conflicts. This is very important. How can we resolve the conflicts in the workplace, at the workplace? So organizational behavior is for everyone, not for only human resource managers, or not only for managers of the company, not only for top people, or not only for the bottom people. Everyone from top to bottom, everyone should understand what is the organizational behavior, and they must study so that they can sail smoothly in the organizational matters. So please go through the page number 11 and 12 in the reading material study guide given to you, right? So this is a something about what is a introduction to the organizational behavior. So any questions for me, please? Can you ask any questions so far on the discussion so far? Please go through that study guide and read meticulously each, because the quiz will be covering the study guide, not this our video or explanation of these slides. This is only for my explanation purpose. I have it is we call presentations are prepared, but all the quiz questions and everything comes from the study guide, and you must be, some general questions also will be there. That is a different story. You must be thorough with the each page of that study guide. That is very important, right? I think you have seen that schedule for the tasks, task 1, task 2, task 3. Did you find any difficulty with the quiz time, quiz day? Did I give you that quiz when it is a quiz? So task 1 on 4th December, we may have a Zoom session. You will be sharing your video from that side, and your slides prepared from that side, and you will be explaining your presenting the case study. Please go through those assessments and properly understand. The quiz date I did not fix because I would like to fix it after discussion with you people. Because we don't take a lot of time to complete, because you must agree for a sooner completion of the quiz, so that we can what we call complete the unit quickly, right? Okay. So in the organizational behavior, we talk something about individual behavior, personality, and values. This is a topic, and also continuation will be there for that. So measures of individual behavior and performance. The study guide 13 to page number 13 to 30, a lot of information is given. So this all explains various characteristics and features of the human and behavioral aspects and everything. So please go through that one to make you thoroughly understand the topic. So in this part, we discuss in briefly measuring individual behavior and performance. Because performance always quantified, behavior is always qualitative. So both are to be measured because performance is directly related to the behavioral. That is as per the organizational behavior concepts are spoken. Measuring individual behavior and performance by investigating the direct predictors, forecasters of individual behavior and performance. So one such measure, earliest formula used to forecast individual behavior and performance. So it is probably completing. Just a minute. Sorry. Okay. Performance of an individual in the organization depends on person, times, situation. Person in the sense his personality related aspects will be taken into consideration. Where person includes individual characteristics and situation, represents external influences on the individual's behavior. Another frequently mentioned formula, performance equal to ability times motivation. If the person is able to complete a task, it is not necessary that he will be performing the task if that person does not have any motivation for that. A simple example, a person, accountant for example, he knows accounting processes, but we recruited him as an accountant to prepare our books of accounts, but we said that you will not be paid any salary, for example. Normally, if you simply say that you will not be paid any salary, and even though person is ability is there, but motive is not there, then his performance will be zero. Sometimes known as the skill and will model. This is a performance equal to ability times motivation is called as skill and will model. Why? Ability is representing the skill. Motivation represents the will of the person. If motivation is zero, then even though person is a skilled, very well skilled person, the performance will be nil. This formula elaborates two specific characteristics within the person that influence individual performance. Ability, motivation, that means and situation are by far the most commonly mentioned direct predictors of our individual behavior. Sometimes, situation also will be. No, normally that is what nowadays organizational behavioral scientists now speaking about. You don't blame somebody if that some person commit a mistake. You don't blame that person directly. You may have to assign the reason as situation also. Situation also will be making the people to change their attitude and to perform differently and to take the things in different way. Suppose, for example, when there was an example for the situation. I'll just let you know a simple practical experiment given by made by behavioral people, and a behavioral scientist took a glass chamber or glass what we call a container, and he put a mother monkey and a child in this container. He connected this container with a tube to fill the water, and this mother monkey was more worried about the child's life and started lifting this child. When water is flowing into the container, water slowly growing up. Water level is slowly growing up. The monkey, mother monkey wanted to protect the child. And the mother monkey lifted the child till water comes here. And still water is going up. And the mother monkey started sinking into the water. And water is coming into the nose and mouth. And immediately the mother monkey put the child at the bottom of the container and stood on the child. This is a behavioral conflict and transformation, what we can say, behavioral aspect with respect to situation. Here, a behavioral scientist explain, as long as the mother is safe and the mother does not felt any threat of their life threat from the water, she started lifting the baby up and up. Once water came to the nose and mouth of the mother monkey, and she felt the threat of her own life. So then when the question of her own life came, she doesn't bother about the life of the child, just stood on the child. So this is what how situation demands certain behaviors. Morse model in the sense motivation, ability, and role perception, situational factors. So these 4 points put together is developed as Morse model. These 4 points will influence the individual behavior and results of the organization. Values, personality, perceptions, emotions, attitudes, and stress. These all decide the level of motivation, ability, and role perceptions of the individuals. And in between, there will be possibility of certain situational conflicts where situations will drive the factors, what will become a driving factor. Then the performance and behavior will be depending on or changing or transforming based on these points. All 4 factors are critical influences on an individual's voluntary behavior and performance. If any one of them is low in a given situation, the employee would perform the task poorly. If low motivation, morale, and very bad situation at home, then performance will become very poor. For example, motivated salespeople with clear role perceptions and sufficient resources, that is situational factors, will not perform their jobs as well if they lack sales skills and related knowledge. Whatever you provide, whatever the inputs you provide, if the person does not have skills of selling the product, the ability is influencing him to perform very poor. More detailed explanation of the 4 factors, motivation, ability, role perception, and situational factors are in your guide from page 14 to 16. Please read that guide from page 14 to 16 for this matter. Personality in organization. What is personality? It is a combination of various aspects. Personality is a combination of various parameters and various behavioral aspects of the individual. Personality is an important individual characteristic. It refers to the relatively enduring pattern of thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. How I think, what are my emotions, and how I behave. When thoughts are changing, emotions will be influenced and behavior also will be influenced. That characterize a person along with the psychological processes behind those characteristics. It is, in essence, a bundle of characteristics that make us similar to or different from other people. We estimate an individual's personality by what he or she says and does. That is what words and actions will always explain the personality of the person. We infer the person's internal states, including thoughts and emotions, from these observable behaviors. We can see. So normally over the discussions, talking to a person, conversation and all, you can understand how that person is thinking and what is the emotional aspect of that person. So reflections of this personality. Brain carefully screens job applications to find those who will take his company to the next level of success. We look for people with passion about our business, a drive to understand consumers and what motivates them, and have a pervasive curiosity. These are the characteristics they are expecting, which says the president of Empower Media Marketing in Cincinnati. He emphasizes that his 150 employees are good at selecting applicants from interviews and resumes, but he also asks candidates to complete a personality test indicating whether they are the right fit. So this is very important. A personality profile is just one more data point, one more window into the person who are thinking about hiring. This is very, very, very prominent change in the recent times of the recruitment of the people. They look at, nowadays you can find recruitment of the people, psychographic examination. Psychologically, how they are, whether they are good or bad or, up to the point or not. It's obviously not something that we depend on solely or even primarily when making a decision, but it can help complete a picture. So, Indian Army recruits the people by conducting different tests. There may be around 100 different tests they conduct. Not only just a written test and some reasoning or mathematics kind of skills, like not only that, there will be half a dozen what we call psychographic tests by different ways they set, so that they will come to a conclusion after all the tests. This fellow in the army, if suppose caught by enemies, he will not speak or disclose any secrets of our country. This kind of conclusion they will draw based on their psychological aspects of the what we call recruitees. Is personality characteristic or a trait? A basic premise of personality theory is that people have inherent, that is intrinsic or natural characteristics or traits that can be identified by consistency or stability of their behavior and situations. For example, you probably have some friends who are more talkative than others. Sometimes you can see. No, I'll just tell you a simple example. I have a son and a daughter, and my son always simply has to sit in a corner, and he used to do the homeworks and everything, and he's not physically so what we call active. Only when he goes out with friends, he will be playing volleyball or something. And since my childhood, childhood of my daughter, I never saw my child sitting idle for some time. She is overactive, or what we can say. This is by birth they got that particular skills. You can see certain people always talking. Whether there is a purpose or not, they go on speaking to you. If you are a friend for that person, he or she may be speaking continuously. So you cannot stop them, whatever it is. Some people who like to take risks, and others who are risk averse, not willing to take risks. The consistency is an essential requirement for personality theory. Consistency is very important. Fickle-minded and fickling between different things and that is not taken as a permanent personality of the person. Of course, people do not act the same way in all situations. Again, this is very important. Situations are always determining the behavior of the people. In fact, such consistency such consistency would be considered abnormal because it indicates a person's insensitivity to social norms, reward systems, and other external conditions. People vary their behavior to suit the situation, even if the behavior is at odds with their personality. So, for example, talkative people remain relatively quiet in a library. You cannot speak in the library. So, we'll stop after 5 minutes our discussion for today with this. After this slide, we start. We take tomorrow 12 to 1 again. People typically exhibit a wide range of behaviors, yet within that variety are discernible patterns that we refer to as personality traits. Traits are broad concepts that allow us to label and understand individual differences. Furthermore, traits predict an individual's behavior far into the future. For example, studies report that an individual's personality in childhood predicts various behaviors and outcomes in adulthood, including educational attainment, employment success, marital relationships, illegal activities, and health risk behaviors, etc. Okay, so we stop here for today because a lot of discussion happened. Some are joining and are leaving, or whatever their technical problems, I don't know. Any questions for me? Please unmute your microphone, and tomorrow can we have it same time? Colin, unmute.
Yes,
Please.
same time is okay with me.
We'll continue the same lesson tomorrow because today we had discussion, a lot of discussion so far. Because
Yes.
Zoom is not stopping us even after 1 hour. I don't know why it is allowing us, blessing us like this. Okay, Rennie?
Yeah, I'm okay with the same timing.
Okay, please join at the 12. Don't wait and join at the later. 12 exactly we can start tomorrow so that we can have the discussion. And okay, any questions you please prepare, and you must read the study guide to get the points what I am discussing very clearly, right? Okay, see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay, right.
Thank you. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.